Welcome back to the Sela Viking Voice podcast. Today I'm your host, Cade Galland. I'm here with our very special guest, Mr. Monti. How are we doing?
Doing great. Excited to be here. I'm juiced up this morning.
We're going to be talking about some NFL. Mr. Monti, what are some big surprises that you've seen throughout the first 5 weeks of the season?
Man, I think if we're really going to jump into the biggest surprise, it has to be the Minnesota Vikings.
Has to.
Did you think they would be 5-0?
No.
And I think they've not only are they 5-0, but they've beat some quality teams. 49ers. And that was like a revenge game because Sam Darnold got cut by the 49ers, went in, and nobody thought Sam Darnold, people kind of had given up on him. Mm-hmm. Kind of a similar story to Geno Smith.
For sure.
That quarterback that was in the second round, or that was an early round pick. I think he was a first round pick, actually, by the Jets, right?
I think so, yeah.
And Geno was a former Jets quarterback, too. We might even fact check that, but I think they both were, and both weren't successful early on, and then they kind of bounced around, and now he's in Minnesota where they weren't supposed to be. I didn't see Minnesota projected to be in the top 20 on any, they weren't even on the radar. They're 5-0, and they've who else did they just beat?
Jets last week.
They beat the Jets. They beat the 49ers. I got to look that up real quick as we're going here. Beat the Jets, the 49ers. I want to say let's go to standings real quick. We're going to look this up. Thanks audience for tuning in. I wasn't fully prepared for that question. I got it right here. So they've beat Minnesota. They've beat the Jets. They beat the Jets, the Packers, the Texans, and the 49ers. Texans are supposed to be another team out in the AFC that is projected to be a playoff team. So I again think that the Vikings are absolutely a playoff contender and somebody that surprised us all. I would tell you another team on the other side of things that has surprised me a lot is the Cincinnati Bengals. They're 1-4 right now. I thought they would. This might be the year where they can push the Chiefs and get over that hump. And I don't know what their issue is. They lost a close one to Baltimore this last week. Shootout, right? And kind of mismanaged the clock a little bit and did some funky things. But I thought they would be better. So that's kind of the disappointment, and then the celebration for the Vikings. Yeah.
A big surprise. Something that surprised me a lot is the Commanders being 4-1, and Jaden Daniels is playing the way he is.
Is he the offensive rookie of the year right now?
I think so, yeah.
Okay. Did you think he would be as good as he is?
I didn't, no.
What surprised you the most about him?
I mean, he's got a 77% completion percentage right now.
Yep.
And the Commanders, with the shaky defense they have, they're 4-1.
I think you're right. Who would have imagined that the Vikings and the Commanders are 9-1 combined? Who would have ever thought that was the case? I never would have. Pretty surprising to me as well. I think Jaden Daniels. I think he's I really do think he's going to be a generational quarterback.
Yeah.
You watch his poise. If he doesn't get hurt, that's the whole thing with those dual threat rushing quarterbacks that can do it all. Is can they protect themselves? RG3, remember when he was back in the day with Washington, he was awesome, and then he got hurt, tore that ACL, and never was the same, right?
Yeah.
And it was on a hit that he took. So Lamar Jackson, he's figured out a way to stay healthy throughout his career, and I think Jaden Daniels, that's a great story. I really do think he's gonna. I think he could be generational if he stays healthy.
They play against each other this week.
Oh, is it the Vikings Commanders?
Commanders-Ravens.
Commanders-Ravens. Who do you got in that?
I want to say Commanders, but I don't know if they can do it with their defense.
I got to go the Ravens. Yeah. I think the Ravens offense, speaking of a fantasy oversight, Derrick Henry in most drafts dropped to the third or fourth round.
Yeah.
It's why do you overthink it? He's one of the best running backs every year. He's just killing it.
Going
He's
into
a beast.
Great offense.
Yeah, with Lamar, that backfield, yeah,
Unreal. Some other rookies that have really surprised me. The other two LSU rookies, Brian Thomas Jr. and Malik Neighbors.
Mm-hmm.
Malik Neighbors is balling on the Giants.
Balling. He's balling. And honestly, that's a really surprising because I don't think Daniel Jones is very good.
Yeah.
But Neighbors is balling. You know who the other rookie that I think is going to be a surprise? Not surprise because I think he's going to be a baller, but like is starting to really get on people's radar is Brock Bowers from Las Vegas. He's had a great week a couple weeks ago. I think he's that consistent. Remember last year it was Laporta from Detroit kind of took off.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's kind of that same mold, tough, runs good routes, fast, gets open, and they don't really have a lot of with Devontae Adams out.
Yeah. Requested a trade recently.
Oh man, he's killing my fantasy team. Yeah, he's killing. But the other thing I made a mistake on fantasy-wise is I traded Jaden Daniels for Patrick Mahomes, thinking like early on Jaden had a good week. I had Rashid Rice and Travis Kelce, so I wanted the stack, right?
Mm-hmm.
Love those stacks. So I traded. Oh man, I'm still regretting because Mahomes he's not having a great year. He's solid. The Chiefs are. I don't know if the Chiefs can be beat, dude. Andy, talk about the best coach in the football. Andy Reid.
Yeah.
And they got confidence. Their defense is good. Yeah, I think they're still the best team in football, most complete.
They've won a lot of close games.
Yeah, because Andy Reid's a heck of a coach, right? And Mahomes has, I think, evolved from a gunslinger to he's the best quarterback. He might go down as the best quarterback ever to play.
He very well could. We got some good games this week. Tomorrow, 49ers Seahawks.
Who do you got?
I got the Seahawks.
Really? Okay. What makes you confident in that?
Home field advantage. 49ers haven't looked the best so far. They're missing some key pieces too.
I think the Seahawks choked last week.
Yeah.
They could be 4-1. They would have been a surprise. Like we would have been talking about them in that first question about being 4-1 because nobody would have thought with a new coach, with all the 3-2 with the 49ers coming into town. I did not like last week that the Seahawks didn't run the ball. I think they ran the ball 7 times or something like that.
Yeah, they barely gave it to Kenneth Walker.
And I think we got to get back to that. And then we got to find a way to get pressure on the quarterback. I think if you can pressure Brock Purdy, he's susceptible to turnovers. And I think that's going to be the name of the game. Can we run the ball effectively? And then on the defensive side, can we get pressure on Brock Purdy and rattle his cage a little bit? So I like the Hawks in it as well. Rivalry game. I can't believe I think about that division. That division is the NFC West is historically a pretty tough division, and right now you got the Seahawks at 3-2, and everybody else is below 500. It's interesting. I know everybody. There's injuries have got
lots of injuries.
Yeah, look at the Rams with Puka and Cooper Kupp out. That's their offense essentially. I think. Well, let's go with the Hawks. What other game we got?
We got the Lions versus Cowboys on Sunday.
Okay, bold prediction right now. Document it. October 9th. About 9, what time are we at? October 9th, 10:20 a.m. Lions are going to represent the NFC in the Super Bowl. That's my prediction.
I like that.
I just think they're the most complete offense. Between their offensive line, solid. Their offensive line is great. Then you got 2 game-changer receivers in St. Brown and Williams, right? You got 2 stud running backs, and really Gibbs can be your slot receiver too if you need him to. Montgomery's a power back, and then you got Laporta. And Jared Goff is confident, making great decisions. I think I think they have the best offense in the league with the best weapons, and
they're really young too.
Yes, and Coach Dan Campbell, Dude, how could you not want to play for him? Like, he feels like he is like a player's coach that has energy for days, that loves his players, but is tough.
Yeah.
I think he's just a guy that is well respected in the locker room, and we know when you got a well respected coach, players play for a guy like that, and they want to run through a brick wall. So I'm right now today, Cade, I'm telling you, I think the Lions will be in the championship. I think it's going to be Lions Chiefs if injuries don't get in the way. I think we'll see a Lions Chiefs. And I wouldn't bet against the Chiefs. You can't. But I'm if the Seahawks don't go, I'm a Seahawks fan. If the Seahawks don't go, I want to see the Lions.
Yeah, the Lions are a really, really solid team.
What do you think about Gibbs? You think he's a top tier back?
Yeah, I think he could be an RB1. But
Little McCaffrey to him, you think?
yeah, he's. I mean, he's not as much of a power back as McCaffrey, but I think he's probably quicker.
Okay. Good in the slot. Like remember, probably before your time, Reggie Bush.
Yeah.
Okay, a little bit of a Reggie Bush, I think, kind of like that.
I've seen that comparison.
Yeah, kind of good. What other games we got?
We already talked about the Commanders Ravens. I'll have to look.
Who I'm interested in seeing how they respond is the Eagles. Just there was a lot of hype on the Eagles.
2-2 so far.
Yeah, just coming off a bye week, they've been a little banged up too. But I'm interested in them. And the other game that I think is really interesting this week, that I think it'll be. We'll see how it goes out in the AFC. Is the Jets versus the Bills, and here's why. The Jets just fired their coach, right? And I didn't see that coming. I'm wondering, you think Aaron Rodgers had something to do with that? Is he calling the shots?
Probably.
Okay. So I'm wondering about that, and they're supposed to be a front runner to land Devontae Adams in a trade and reunite those two together. So that game will be interesting to see, the Bills versus the Jets. The Jets, it's a must-win for them. I think you don't want to go 2-4. I think Bills haven't looked great, and there's a lot of hype. There's a lot of hype. Then they lose to Houston, and they kind of fumbled that game away in terms of they didn't manage the clock very well, and then let Houston get like a 60-yard field goal to win it.
Josh Allen really struggled against them too. I think he was like 9 for 30.
Yeah, but you know who the coach is of the Texans? It's DeMeco Ryans, who used to be a 49ers defensive coordinator. In 49ers, we know that they can play D. So I think I think they're going to get it around. Here's my question for you: what's the best stack? The best stack in the NFL. So the best receiver, one receiver, and best quarterback combination.
One that's probably my favorite. Probably not, it's not the best.
Okay.
But I really am a fan of Kyler Murray and Marvin Harrison.
That's a new one.
Yeah.
Okay. I like it.
But the best stack, I'd probably have to go. It's a tough one. Tua and Tyreek, when healthy, are really good.
Okay.
Jalen Hurts and A.J. Brown.
Okay. I'm going to go a different route. The most underrated stack, I think, is Nico Collins and C.J. Stroud.
They're balling this year.
They're balling. Yeah, they're good. But I think the best, we saw it last week in fantasy.
Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase.
Joey Buckets, baby. I think Joe and Jamar, when they're clicking, there's nothing like it. I think Joe Burrow is one of the most underrated quarterbacks. That injuries kind of got him. I really want to see him. He's a winner. You saw what he did at LSU his senior year. I really want to see him. I want to see him take that next step.
Yeah, me too. I want to see him win a Super Bowl before.
Yeah, before he gets too old.
Yeah.
Yeah, he deserves it. You don't want him to be like Dan Marino where he doesn't get one. But he's in the shadows of Patrick Mahomes, which is hard. So
just can't beat him.
1-4 this week. Who do they got this week? Let's see who the Bengals have this week. Bengals have the Giants. Should be a win for the Bengals, I would think. But we thought, so that should be a good game too. Hey, last question, kind of before I got to jump out of here. Pittsburgh. What do you do? Justin Fields, they've lost a couple. Is Russell Wilson healthy? Do you make that switch?
I really don't know what's going on with their QB situation, because last week Justin Fields got hurt or got hit big and was out for a few plays. Russell Wilson didn't come in. It was Kyle Allen.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if Russell Wilson's still dealing with injuries, but
he had that calf injury. He was named the starter, then supposedly tore his calf, so he's been out. I think you gotta roll the dice and go with Russ. I think you're 3-2. They've lost some games. He's a veteran. He's a winner. I mean, besides Denver, I think when Seahawks let Russ cook, he was cooking. I think Denver Denver gave up on him. I think he has a chip on his shoulder. I think you got to give him a chance if you're Pittsburgh.
Yeah. I think he could really help Justin Fields out too, because he's a good leader. Mm-hmm. Justin Fields kind of needs that.
Agreed, 100%. All right. Thanks for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Monti.